Welcome to the Tiling Connect podcast. This podcast is designed to raise the standards of the tiling industry by sourcing and sharing the best and latest in standards, technology, and innovation with its listeners. Before we get started, everything we talk about in this podcast is general in nature and does not consider your own personal situation. You should always seek professional advice for any specific matters.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tiling Connect. I'm your host, Mark Moskwa. In this episode, I'm speaking with Sean Summers, Managing Director of Ultimate Tiles in Melbourne. He's sharing with us today how they manage a family tile retail and tiling tools business and provide insights on their brand marketing. Also, you'll hear about how he's built a healthy team culture that strives to deliver a valuable tile shopping experience every day. I hope you enjoy this episode. Hello, Sean.
Hello, Mark.
Hey, buddy. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's been a while.
It has been a while, mate. What do you been doing?
Mate, I've been living the dream in Queensland, the sunny state, surrounded by lots of water, and then more sun.
You got lots still there.
Very cool, mate. Well, welcome to Tiling Connect podcast. One of the purposeful places to start, which we found is fantastic for the episodes, is to really understand our guests and who they are and their background. And I know that, Sean, you've got an incredible story to tell. You've got a pedigree of tiling in your family business. I'm not going to. I don't want to take away too much of your airtime because I know that you will tell the story eloquently. But mate, if you will, give us a bit of a background on you and your family and the history of Ultimate Tiles. I think it is now Ultimate Tiles now, and
yeah, correct. Yep.
And Tyler's Warehouse. So the two businesses that you operate, if I'm saying that correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you're right. So to go back to the start, my dad Rick started Fountain Gate Ceramics. It was back then in 1988. A tile shop like many that started from just doing all the work, getting in, packing all the orders, delivering them after hours, all that sort of thing. And it grew. I was born around the same sort of time, so I was literally born into the tile shop, mate.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, from there it grew, and some really good established builders and tilers around the area really come together and got to know our family and really started to support us. So we've got some customers that have been with us for a very long time and still are to this day. So from there, with the iconic hexagonal building here in Narre Warren, we had the tile shop there. And over time, we were able to acquire all the 4 factories lining up. So we were able to distribute tiles to a lot of the area. Around 2007, we decided that we're pretty good at what we do, and probably need to grow on this. And they'd come together with Paul Cannizzaro and Fred Milana and decided to create a group called Ultimate Tiles.
Yeah.
So that was pretty exciting, and that's where the Ultimate brand started. That went along for a few years, and Fred and Paul working together with Dad, and they worked on trying to build some franchises and things like that. I would have been about 22 then, so I was right in the thick of it and getting to know all the products and all those sort of things too. But from there, we did Ultimate Tiles for about 6 years, and then Massimo Sedano from Massa Imports approached Fred and Dad and wanted them to be a part of the Elegance group. So that was, I think it was about 2010, maybe 2011, something like that. And we joined up to the Elegance Tiles group. Hopefully I get my numbers right here, Marky. About 12 other independent tile stores. So
yeah, wow.
I think the idea behind that was to generate some good buying power and a good brand across Victoria, both metro and regional. That's where we spent 9 years. That was good, and only recently, mate, we just decided to go back to an independent structure which fits us and our customers, and now back to Ultimate Tiles. So a bit of a whirlwind of events to come back and be the Ultimate Tiles. team again.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that's an incredible journey. I know your dad, he would have grown up in the same sort of era in tiles as the Walkers from National Tiles. I think it's sort of it was sort of like people of that generation were the founding members of the tile industry in Australia, right?
Yeah, but I think Dad told me a couple of stories about Mr. Frank. We used to buy tiles off him when they were doing wholesale.
Yeah.
Yes, but yeah, I think so. That's that was well before my time, but definitely as I become into the business straight out of school, um, yeah, tiles were a big game, and we had some really good builders and trades around the area too, and a good retail business. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a good journey for me. Like literally, I finished year 12 at Cairo up in Druin, and I was sat on my butt for a couple of months. And Dad goes, "What are you doing, mate? What are you going to do?" I said, "I want to be a carpenter." He goes, "Have you called anyone? Have you done anything about it?" I said, "Oh, no,
No.
I just don't want to work, to be honest."
Yeah.
And then he came up to me and said, "Well, we're about to jump into a computer system. I've got an old guy that can't use computers, doesn't want to use them, and wants to retire."
Yeah.
Yeah, just you start at 6 o'clock the next day. All right, and that's yeah where I started into tiles, mate. Was
Yeah, wow.
yeah, I was
And
a lazy bum after school.
well, mate, you've certainly gone from not wanting to do too much to inheriting a great deal. A lot of responsibility, of course, with the business as well, and being handed over from your dad, who was an absolute bloody legend in the game when he was around.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So
so tell me, I have a few questions. Sorry, and I'm sure you'll jump in here. The ultimate tiles thing. I saw some stuff on LinkedIn the other day, and I saw some photos in the imagery of the building. It looks spectacular. Is that a solo project for yourselves, or are you jumping on board with a couple of other independents down in Melbourne?
so we just got Fred Milano still operating Ultimate Tiles in Mornington.
Oh yeah, Fred. Yeah.
Yeah, Dad and Fred were good mates and business partners as well. So, Fred's been a great mentor. So, probably just to cover off a bit of that, Dad passed away in 2018 with a heart attack, and it was just a sudden thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, that comes as a bit of a shock when, your main mentor and person that you have or by your side all the time passed away tragically like that. So, there was a lot going on around that time. And, someone like Fred has always been there for us and our family. So I always really kept a good relationship with him. And I think, as to bring it back into the business side of things, as we continue to grow and develop since Dad passing and got some good people in and things like that, I felt that, we needed to go back to our roots, and joining up with Fred was the right thing to do. And I feel like that would have been something that Dad would have wanted us to do as well.
Yeah. Yeah, he's I've known you and your dad when he was around, as long as if not around the same time as I've known Fred as well, and he's a great operator and certainly a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the industry. And obviously he was sort of born in at the grassroots back in the 80s, and I couldn't think of a better mentor to be involved with in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And so same with the guys, a part of the Elegance group were really there for me during that time as well. It was quite a big loss for not only for us, but the group and probably the tile industry as well. I still don't comprehend how broad his reach was within the industry. So I've been able to pick up a lot from that. But I think we've been put in a position now where we've got a good legacy to live from, and some good skills that we've been able to learn, and now we've been able to take it up to another level as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's incredible, mate. I remember seeing you at that time when the loss occurred, and it was terrible. And mate, so I'm really sorry, again to Yeah, it's never a good time in life to be dealing with that sort of stuff. And we lost another heavyweight recently with Jay-Z. Hey, I heard that he passed as well, and had a call from a few people in Melbourne giving me the news, and it was very sudden. So it was another heavyweight gone.
Unfortunately, we're losing some good people as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, mate,
never good.
No, it isn't, and it's good to be able to take that legacy and keep building upon that, right? And driving that forward in the future for the family and for your team as well.
Well, the story's a big part of what we do, Mark. Like, we've got we do a bit of a handout brochure when we do meet up with new clients or builders. And really, I think it's the most important thing about small and family businesses is the roots and the story that goes along with it.
Yeah.
I think if you're dealing with people with the same values and the same ideas, and the same energy, I think it's all positive. So we always like to tell our story. And using different platforms like podcasts we are now is great. We can share who we are and what we do and what we're good at.
Absolutely. Yeah. Look, I've always had a very big soft spot in my heart for the independent operators in the industry. And you know that I've worked in the majors before, and it's great to be involved in a major business. There's a lot of projects. There's a lot of money you can spend. You can get pretty excited and open new stores and all that sort of stuff. And that's what comes with that is a lot of hard work and long days and long hours. But you don't always have that independent family run story to share with the audience all of the time, because your business grows, the footprint grows so big that it gets gobbled up, and then it's very difficult to try and have that expressive conversation with the next builder or the next tiling contractor that decides, hey, I want to partner with an Ultimate Tiles, and I want to be a part of Sean's group of customers and experience what it's like to have that sort of bespoke or exclusive type arrangement, versus walking into a store that's, and no disrespect, obviously everyone's got their merit, but to walk into a store that's got just company staff working in it, you just don't get the same level of love, I suppose, is the best way to put it.
Yeah, exactly. Mate, there's every chance you'll find me working on the counter or catching up with a tiler on site or running out a box of tiles and things like that.
Yeah,
it's what we've got to do, and I think that's important because it's a level of service and everything that our customers need from us as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree, mate. Tell me, we haven't touched on yet, and I've got a heap of questions that have come in from a lot of people where we're getting feedback from online through the different social media platforms, whether it be LinkedIn or Instagram or email. And but before we get there, I wanted to ask, we didn't talk much about Tyler's Warehouse. Tell me about that. How did that come? Well, I know it's part of the business, but how did that evolve from the tile side of the business? Because it's a powerhouse now, right?
It did, and I missed that part of the question earlier. But so Tyler's Warehouse actually come about, and if I remember, the story that Dad told me was around. We had back when we had just the showroom, and we had a lot of our tradies come through the showroom, and muddy boots and all that sort of thing. And Dad sort of come up with the idea of moving that into a warehouse and creating a bit of a hub for tilers to be able to go and have a coffee or talk or network with other tilers, and then load up their products for the day. So Tyler's Warehouse was probably born around the early 90s for those sort of reasons, to showroom for retail, trade, warehouse for that. So he tells me he was one of the first ones to come up with the idea. I'm sure maybe some listeners might know some other ones, but since we started that, we used to call it the trade centre and all those sort of things. And when we shut down our Narry Warren showroom, probably about 6 years ago now, we really launched into Tyler's Warehouse because we removed the showroom, but kept the trade store.
Okay.
And the trade store is a real pillar for the business because it generates a lot of leads or tile sales or builder connections or networks, or even just a hub for tilers to come in and just hang out and chew the fat in an environment almost like a pub environment without the beer, so they can meet up with their mates here and have a coffee or a lunch and watch TV or things like that. So I think the main driver, especially recently, is about bringing tilers together to create a better information pool. And then the guys are actually able to work together, network together, share skills, share knowledge. And then in turn, we create some really good relationships and good customers as well.
Mm. Yeah, look, it's sorry, you go.
I was just going to say, Tiles Warehouse has definitely been a great addition to this Narrowwarren location. And then we've even, part of the ultimate thing is we've been able to move Tiles Warehouse down to our Pakenham store as well.
Yeah,
so
okay.
Essentially 2 locations now, and
fantastic.
A lot of social media advertising that really gets the guys involved.
Excellent. Yeah, look, it's I spent a lot of time when I was in some previous roles in that trade space, and the tile sales and tile shop or tile retail store feeds from the tiling contractors that are out there and vice versa. So there is that synergy of having a good, really good group of professional tilers that can help. A couple of things. Obviously, they're going to buy the equipment from you, right? So they're going to buy the adhesives, waterproofing, the tools, and that sort of thing. They're also, in a lot of ways, seeking, more work from the mum and dads that come in and buy their tiles, and or builders. So there's definitely a massive. There's definitely a massive link between the two businesses. Yeah,
and just the information and things that the boys can then give you to help develop new products or new ideas or things like that. They're the guys on the ground, and they're the guys with all the information to make it us better and the products that we bring in and things like that too. So we've seen some great success with things like Instagram and videos and some collaborations with some guys as well. So, but it's all about having fun, mate. Like I think if we can create a really good environment for guys to come to our stores and they know that they can choose one of the guys, or we can duck down to the cafe and have a coffee and a lunch or something like that. I think we create a good atmosphere, and I think our customers like that.
Yeah, cool. I like it. All right, so let's get into the Q&A because there's some cracking questions here that have come in from the audience, and of course there was a little bit of a dual approach to these questions. Some of the audience wanted to find out a little bit about what these questions are like from a contractor's perspective, and then there are other people that thought, I could learn something more from an actual business operator who has a retail store with 10, 15, 20 staff, and whether you're a tiling contractor dealing with builders and or designers and architects, or whether you're a business owner who has a shop front, the rules are the same. I mean, you're still dealing with the same people. One's installing, one's supplying the product, but the relationships nonetheless are going to be very similar. So one of the first questions that came up quite frequently from people was wanting to know what strategies people use to manage builder relationships effectively. And we know that out there, there's a whole different variety of builders that you deal with. And, we have shows on TV now that certainly set some very high expectations around, how things should look and feel. Tell us how you handle your or what strategies you use to handle manage, I suppose, your builder relationships.
Yeah, okay. So we deal with quite a few different customer groups. We do builders, renovators, tilers, and landscapers, all part of that, and retail as well. So I think by the strategy for us is to be able to engage with all those customer groups and really starting to understand and listen to what they need. And I think if you're able to give the customer that time to understand what their problems are or how we can help them create a solution for them, is how we can start to build a relationship. From then, a really effective communication, and all of our customers have a touch point. We're always speaking to them, and I've via a multitude of different streams as well. It might be on the phone, it could be an SMS here and there, using our social medias or emails and things like that. Building those relationships is just having even similar values as well. So I think we're able to connect with our customers. We have a bit of a process we work through, try not to be too regimented with it, but part of that is understanding customers' needs and how we're going to execute. And then being reliable and honest, I think, made it two important things to add to that.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to do something, say you're going to do it, just make sure make sure it happens. And if you can't make it happen, communicate.
Yeah.
And I think when
it might sound easy, right? However, I think you and I both experience very similar paths where, a lot of people will say they'll do something and then they just don't do it. And you're like, you just get frustrated time and time again. I can just imagine what that would be like for either a customer, a tiling contractor, or a builder, or just even a best mate,
Exactly. And you hear it all the time, mate, the unreliability of people. It doesn't help. It doesn't fix anything. It doesn't make anything move forward. So once you do that, you lose trust, and once you lose trust, you lose the relationship. So I think definitely listening and communicating is the most important thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you finding in the post-COVID world that we're living in at the moment, and I still can't believe that it was only about 9-10 months ago that we were still at the tail end of all of these cases. What are you finding is the big challenge in terms of expectations at the moment? Is it price? Is it stock? Is it color? Is it design? Like, are there standout things at the moment that are becoming a real pain point?
Well, apart from all the challenges that everyone goes through, obviously, like you said, COVID stuff, the fluctuating nature of how everything's going at the moment. Like we've seen the dollar drop and then shipping come down. So I don't think there's any rhythm, and I think that's what the real challenge is. But
yeah, that's
on
a really
the
good
flip
point.
side, instead of looking at it as a challenge, we're really trying to work hard with some budgeting, some forecasting, and some really good structure as well.
Yeah.
So I think instead of it becoming a challenge, we can start to look ahead and go, what's our flow like? What's our order cycle going to be like? We're going to budget to work to, and how are we going to manage that and stay on top, stay in front of it rather than behind.
Yeah.
And I found that makes it easier to sleep at night. Knowing what's sort of coming up in the short and long term, and what our goals and expectations are as well.
Yeah, look, I share that the flow. I really like that actually. The flow has been somewhat disrupted for the past few years. Even, I mean, and you from an import perspective, trying to bring particular products in a timely manner, and then you balancing and juggling that with the Australian dollar versus the US. It's been a real minefield to try and work your way through it, and all of that interrupts the flow, and then I can see how that would have a knock-on effect with tile selections and then availability of particular sizes, and then that's obviously going to feed into delays on on a particular job site, and then therefore Mr. and Mrs. Jones may not get their house for another 6 weeks. But 6 weeks more delayed than what was anticipated.
Yeah, and it's still going on, and it's still causing us dramas. But we go back 2 years ago. We had a strategy planning meeting with the management team, and we thought, well, we should move a lot of our product to Australian made, which was the NCIs. A lot of that decision was based around probably more consistent pricing and a more direct stream of supply. So I know tilers have a few issues with NCIs, but that's another story. But it's a good product. It's Australian made, and we're able to go back to our building relationships. We were able to go back to our relationships and said, hey, we're going to move into this Australian made product because we feel it's going to be the best thing to do over the next sort of 3 years with the changing situation overseas. So by doing that, we've been able to take a lot of stress out of reselections and things like that. And we've got some really good wholesalers locally that helped us continue supply product.
Awesome.
So planning is the answer to sort of avoiding challenges. They're always going to be there, but if we can have a plan or something to work to, at least we know what our direction is.
Yeah. Look, we've probably already touched on this next question. However, look, I'll put it out there anyway, because there may be some extra things that you want to add to that. Managing builder relationships is one thing. Managing customer expectations is another. Do you find that they're one and the same, or are they different? Are customers' expectations more? How are they today compared to 12 months ago?
Tough one, because I think they are similar. But everyone has their different needs as well. So I think where we are, we really work hard on our customer service, so making sure we are delivering what up to our expectation as well. So yeah, we're not seeing too many issues with that sort of stuff, mate.
Oh, good. Awesome. That's great. Excellent. In terms of, and this question comes up quite frequently from different people, they're always curious to know how different people operate and build the best team of people for their business. So give us a bit of an idea on how you go about recruiting the best people, finding the best people, training the best people. How does that look for you?
Okay, so this was absolutely my biggest challenge, mate. When we lost the old man, it was 12 months after that, we already had a really good team. I was able to bring on our sales manager, Daniel Glenn, who was a good asset, and some other people around there. But we found ourselves making the same mistakes. Our staff turnover was pretty high. Their expectation of our staff was pretty high. So early days, like 4 years ago, we gone, well, geez, we need to change something here and look at the way that we manage our people and how can we improve and get better. So it worked out really well, because through COVID, we had very low staff turnover, and we were able to actually build our team over the last 2 years and deal with that growth.
Yeah, right.
How did we do that? And I think it's not something that I'm educated in, but something with this modern management sort of style, and having really clear job descriptions, and just not one that's been printed off the internet, but setting out the team's goals and expectations through job descriptions, KPIs, so something how we can measure how they're going, rather than looking over their shoulder and things like that. So then from that, the guys have been able to actually make their own decisions, based on some guidelines that we're able to put in place. And we've seen our team really lift and embrace new things, and I think that's definitely helped with our staff retention.
Yeah, nice.
And it's definitely something we've been working hard on, and definitely something for me that I have to work hard on all the time. My dad was the classic 80s manager. It's like, do what I say when I say sort of thing.
No feedback. No feedback.
Growing
Thanks.
up, I would, he started me off on 50 hours, probably $8 an hour, sort of thing. So, I definitely an area that we've really worked hard on, and the next bit of expertise that we've been able to bring to the business helps with that too. But definitely our team continues to grow around these sort of things, and they keep pushing the level up as well, which is really good. So I think having clear guidelines and not instructions, but just something for the guys to work to, and then being able to measure that and then reward that success as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
When our guys get pay increases, they get it with a reason, and they know why, and they know, and they're encouraged to do more all the time.
Yeah, that's amazing, mate. I really love that. And just on that, I caught up with a tiling contractor on the Gold Coast a few weeks ago, and he reached out to me via LinkedIn, and he saw a couple of the episodes that I recently posted, and this is a sort of effect that this sort of podcast is having. And back then, a few episodes ago, mate, I was like a complete novice, right? I'm still, and I'm getting, and every time you jump on and do these recordings, you're like, oh my God, I'm actually sounding better and better. And I caught up with him in person, and he was talking to me specifically about one of the things that he does with staff. And he's got, I think, about 15 contractors on his books. And he's a young guy, he's in his 30s, super motivated, does a lot of high-end work. It appears as though he's got a very methodical business. And one of the key questions he asks his staff, he'll sit down with them and map out where they want to go. So the first question he'll say to them is, what sort of career do you want? Like, where do you want to go? Like, and some people will turn around and go, hey, look, I'm just a career tiler. I don't want to do anything. I just want to come to work every day. I want to get paid X dollars. I want to do an amazing job. And I want to, keep pumping out really, really high quality tiling work, whether that's bathrooms, ensuites, main floors, whatever. But then there's some guys that, turned around to him and said, well, look, I'd actually really like to see myself as a site manager or an ops manager in your business, because he has, when you've got 15 people or 15 tiling contractors, you would have that sort of level in the business because you need people to manage different aspects of the business. It's not as easy as just being a sole trader. So, yeah, look, there is so much merit in just being really open and honest from the beginning, and actually and just asking that question, hey, what do you want your future to look like? Because some people might turn around and go, oh, look, I can give you 5 years, but then after 5 years, I have aspirations to fly a hot air balloon around the world. That's cool. But you're going to get 5 great years out of them, right?
We actually do very, very similar thing. We do a 3-month review after they start, and then that question's always built in, and then we do regular 6-month reviews as well.
Yeah, wow.
And the guy that's doing that, I think that really works out well for us, because you can line your values up and line your goals up together, and if you're all working in the same direction, it makes it so much easier.
Oh, yeah. The transparency around that is the outcomes are phenomenal. Can't even say the word. Phenomenal for the people that look at it with through that aspect. Not everyone obviously sees it the same way, and 2 people would, but definitely.
But that's been a part of my growth as well, because I think it's easy to be scared of that question, to ask that of someone.
Oh yeah.
But I think it's but now it's like it's encouraged. It's what we want to know, because we can line everything up together and head in the same direction.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the massive beauty of having an independent business versus this massive chain of stores that these sort of questions you ask that, and then all of a sudden you're sitting down with a HR manager with a please explain. I'm like, I'm just trying to help grow the individual. but there'll be all these other things that'll come out of it. I remember when I was growing up, right? Knowledge was power, and information was power, and there couldn't be a more accurate saying than that today as well. We have this, and I've said this on a few podcast episodes, is we have this big gap between generations where we've got a lot of really, really amazing information that's being held by people that are looking at semi-retirement or retirement. And then there's a big gap between that and then the people growing up in the industry, like yourself and me and others. And once that information is gone from those semi-retired, retired people, it's gone. We can't get that back. Or people that we've lost through really, really crappy circumstances. So so we need to keep feeding the industry so that there's a legacy left behind for for future people that want to be involved in the game.
I agree with that, and that was one of the things that I struggled after Dad passed away. Is that expertise? So we got to a level where it was time for me to take over. Yeah, but we never went through the process of what it means to take over. Yeah, it was funny. It was funny because I used to think that it must be easy, earn lots of money, drink lots of coffee, and go out for lunch all the time. Then I started doing it. I'm like, this is a hell of a lot different. You got everything's a risk that you do. Every decision affects the 12 or 13 other people that work with this. So a whole nother perspective.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, completely. Oh, mate. And look, I've never been a business owner of a tile business. I've certainly felt like I've owned it. I just haven't had to pay, haven't had the burden or the weight of having to pay the bills, and that's a big part of it. Is you from one day to the next, you're obviously keeping that sales pipeline going because you've got responsibilities inside of the business to your suppliers and to your team. So you're feeding a whole bunch of people as well. So there's an ample amount of responsibility with operating a business.
Yeah, the decisions you make around that too. Like when you look at all the inflation and the cost of living going up everywhere. It affects everyone that works with us too. So you've always got to be looking at that as well. And also the effects on family as well. Like if you don't get that work-life balance right, you spend too much time working, not enough with your family. And something that always resonates with me is everyone always says spend plenty of time with your kids because they grow up too fast.
Yes.
And I think these days with technology, how we can work from home or we can do it on a Saturday afternoon or whatever it's going to be, I think that allows us to make it easier to connect with family and do other things to get that good balance going.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely something to work on and trying to keep all things moving and everyone in a good position.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Mm.
Mate, tell me, you've got two businesses operating, one at Narre Warren, one at Pakenham, and you've obviously got a number of people working in the business. How do you go about marketing your two businesses? Because they are the same, but also a little bit different. One being, very tile focused, and then you've obviously, or tile and stone focused, I should say. And then you've got, tools and products and adhesives and waterproofing products. So, yeah, tell us a little bit more about how you market the business.
Okay, so I think so being in Elegance, we the website was done. There was marketing strategy and all that sort of thing. So that was really good when we were in Elegance. Now coming into Ultimate, we've recently just gone into buying a new website and getting a marketing team working for us on there.
Yeah, right.
I think social media has played a massive part in the way that we've been able to connect with trades and builders.
Yep.
So our two Instagram pages, obviously one being Tiles Warehouse, the other one being Ultimate Tiles Pakenham. And just being able to engage and learn with our clients. So we've been able to market that and then be able to draw customers in through there. We've also word of mouth, mate. We've been around in the business and for 33 years now. So we've been around a long time and we haven't moved too far away from where our operation started. So people know they can come into Vespa Drive and they'll most likely see part of our business or Builder Road in Pakenham.
Yeah.
Pakenham's still a small place with that country sort of style, even though it's growing and developing now.
Yeah.
But a lot of local connections done over those years certainly help generate more marketing. So word of mouth, then through local connections. And then, I've got two brothers and a sister and we're all involved in local sporting clubs and things like that too. So
yeah, wow.
Just being around, mate, and, good people. And then, we grow and it's a positive thing that everyone sort of, will jump on our social media or even our staff are out there promoting the business even on the weekends or whatever. So
yeah,
you guys put a lot of work into it.
You guys are very active on social media, and I've known that for a while because obviously I've known you for a while. So obviously I picked up on one thing there. Obviously community, well, a few things, but community is obviously really important, which is amazing. And how do you think social media has changed how people market their businesses today?
Oh, I think we can show who we really are. Well, anyone that comes into here, I always say, guys, put your face on social media because if I've got a tiler coming to look at my house to do my work, I'd say I want to know who you are. I want to connect, and I think that's what it's about, isn't it? Social media. It's about being social. It's about having a catch up with someone instead of actually going to see them on site. So we're able to engage with people and build a relationship differently to how we used to.
Yeah.
Because we've got common interests, or you genuinely like the work that people do because there's some serious skills in whether they're building or renovating or tiling. You can see what these guys are capable of. There's a seriously good tradesmen out there that showcase their work.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I think Instagram has been an absolute amazing platform for a lot of industries, but certainly I can only speak on behalf of the industry that we've all been heavily involved in for a long period of time. And it's certainly, you see some really professional craftsman-like tiling work on Instagram from a whole host of people. Yep. And they're so proud, and the people out there are really proud to post this stuff. And I've noticed that there's that part of it. And then also the emergence of more female tilers getting involved in the game, which is just amazing to see because it's obviously been a very male-dominated industry for a long period of time. And it's great to see the diversity, in the mix as well, because they're, the tilers that I've seen are producing some really high-quality finishes.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool.
We're starting to see a rise in female apprentices as well, which I think is good for the industry. It's what we really need, to be
Yeah.
honest. So,
Definitely. Yep. It's been missing for a long time.
Yeah, so mate, social media is a great thing. Look, I don't know what's next. This social media thing seems to evolve very quickly. You know, there's a couple of our guys moving into TikTok and things like that now, which is crazy. And I don't know if I can even keep up with that one, but it's good, and it's all positive stuff. You know, and that's once again to come back to creating a fun environment. We do that through our social media or Tiles Warehouse, you know, have a bit of fun, and, you know, we'll have raffles and prizes and all that sort of stuff. And then a bit more serious, more try and be a bit more boutique, a bit more professional through our Elegance Tiles, Ultimate Tiles Pakenham one.
Yeah, wow. That's cool. Awesome.
So that we can show two sides of the business as well.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. That's great. Final Q&A question. There were a number of people out there that were curious to know a little bit more about tiling design, right? So this can be a really long question, or it can be short and sharp, and I'm sort of a bit torn between it. But obviously, there is that part of tile selection that customers will come into a showroom, right? And they have maybe some preconceived ideas from what they've seen online or on, you know, an online a show on TV, or maybe at a friend's place, and they want some support and help designing what their next bathroom or ensuite or splashback or main floor area is going to look like. So how does your business handle that with helping customers select that type of design or their next project design? And how does that transcend into going from what they've selected to helping the tiling installer install that vision that the customer's got? Because sometimes it can get lost in translation from the time it's been selected to the time the tiler gets the tiles to install.
Absolutely. So I think, first of all, we mainly deal with wholesalers. We don't import many products ourselves.
Yeah, okay.
So that keeps us at the forefront of the style game. So, you know, our wholesalers will bring in the trendy products first, and then we're able to go through that selection process to put it into our showroom. And, you know, different areas have different trends as well. So, you know, we try to understand what our customers want in our area too. I think the connection between the tiler and the end user, with our builders and renovators, we do, you know, internal colour selections to make sure that we write down all the grout colours or trim colours or any different laying patterns and things like that, to make sure that message gets passed across. Or even our local customers through the Pakenham store are using our tilers as well. So the whole connection and the full circle enables that message to get from the start to the finish. And our renovators or tilers or even our DIYers will ring us up and ask us, what were we trying to do here, or what do I need to do in this case? And I think a combination of the networking that we've been talking about, trendy products from using really good wholesalers, and I think that completes the product design. And I think that way the end user gets the result that they need.
Yeah. Do you offer an in-house design service at Pakenham? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we do. We got
Yeah,
so down at Pakenham, we've got some really good guys down there that are fantastic and well skilled in putting together concepts for clients. And, you know, the feedback that we get out of our showroom from all of our team, actually all of our staff, we get some really good feedback of the level of customer service and their skills to be able to put together these designs, or, you know, like I said before, running out boxes, or, you know, helping out with grout colours or trims or whatever it's going to be. So yeah, definitely, it's something that we offer to builders and renovators, but our retail clients get the same experience too, because the passion that our team has for the industry, it comes out. You know, it's just part of our structure.
Yeah, and look, that design part's really important for whether it be a retail customer or a builder's client, because first of all, they have some sort of vision in mind on color and or how they want their bathroom to look, or ensuite, or whatever the project area might be, and getting that part right is critical. And then obviously having the information so that it's shared with the installer, so they understand the flow, I suppose you could call it, of what's going on the floor, what's going on the wall, what's potentially going in niches. Is it going to be mitered in any particular areas? Does the customer want a particular pattern for the tiling? Not that you see diagonal laid tiles much anymore, because everything's pretty modern and it's pretty much straighty 180, which is good. I mean, it looks good with great tiles, but I remember growing up when I was in tiling in the earlier parts of the 2000s, and there was always that design part, and then there was always that getting that information in the hands of the tiler so they understood what needed to be installed, because there were times when the information didn't make it to the installer and it ended up being not what the customer wanted. And then there was just lots of conversations about how we're going to rectify this afterwards. Yeah,
I think in many ways the product selection is a little bit simpler.
Yeah.
We go back where we used to do all the borders and all the cappings and all those sort of things. I think the product is easier to select, but then the installation part is proving to be even harder as the tiles get bigger and bigger and different surfaces we have to deal with as well. So lots of challenges all the time, but it's the way that it works, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, well, it's what we wake up and do every day, man. So on that was the final Q&A that came through from the audience, which is great. I think there were some really healthy and robust topics there to talk about, because this the program that I've developed is all about aiming at building a more quality focused, robust sector, and one of those ways is obviously information sharing. It's probably one of the most pivotal ways to do that for our industry. In conclusion today, and what I like to do with all of my guests is ask them some sort of fast track questions, just so the audience can get to know them a little bit better. And again, there's definitely no right or wrong answers, but it's certainly just designed to have a bit more of a chat about who you are. So I'm going to ask my first question, because I'm really curious to know what this would be for you. Tell me what your favorite productivity hack is.
Oh, yeah, this is me. I write everything down in my phone. So I've got a to-do list and an email to-do list, and I like to have everything in front of me all the time. So, and where it works really well is that I don't have to think about it at the time. But if someone goes, hey, can you grab 20 boxes of this tile, or can you remember to put this color trim with that job, or whatever it is, I put it straight into my to-do list in the phone, and I'll make sure that I always do it. So, yeah, tick boxes, mate. I know my emails tell me what I need to do. My to-do list tells me what I need to do. And then as I've finished them, I file them away, and then they're done.
Yeah, awesome. I use notes. I'm very similar. I use notes in Apple, because I've got everything Mac.
Yep.
And look, if you spoke to me 5 years ago, I wasn't very big on Mac, but everything I've got now is Apple.
Yep.
And it's great, because everything, when you put it on your phone, it goes to your Mac, and then vice versa and stuff. So it's just there, and it's just handy. Now, tell me, what do you think the world's going to look like in the next 5 years?
Well, the world in 5 years, I think technology has a big part to play in what we do, mate.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but when we see things like electric cars or more space stations and things like that, I think we're into a really technological era. Things like social media influencers, all of those sort of things. I think we'll see a big evolution in different ways that things are done.
Yeah.
As far as product goes, geez, you could sit here and go, oh, nothing's going to change with products, but it continues to develop and improve. So, yeah, technology has a massive part to play with that as well. I don't know what else you could see for 5 years' time, mate. I think it's going to look completely different than what it is, after what we've been through the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And health and safety and different working environments and people's perspective on life is continually changing. So I think we'll see, through business and products and everything else, it will just change to be unrecognisable to what it is today.
Yeah. Yeah, cool.
Which I think is all good too. I think it's good. I think that's part of what we do when we plan, and we look forward to the future, mate.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, mate, I agree. It's evolving, right? So as humans, one of the biggest things that we aspire to do is to evolve. And that's one of the biggest, they talk about it a lot everywhere you turn, about people that they thrive on evolving. So when you're stationary or you're not achieving your goals and things aren't occurring in your life, that's when you become sedentary and ththings just aren't working. The minute you start to evolve and you start learning, and I said this the other day quite poetically, is that learning is earning, with a tiling reference. So the more you learn, the greater you become as a person. Potentially, once you've learned particularly new skills and things like that, you can apply them, and it takes you into a different sort of stratosphere in terms of your thinking, and the world becomes a bigger place in your mind.
Yep, and I've really started to see that a lot recently. I was never a reader, and that's starting to become something that I do a fair bit more these days.
Yeah, awesome.
I listen to podcasts religiously. Some of them funny, some of them good, but I listen to a lot, and I really like the new information. And even around, you see a lot of podcasts now also include things like mindfulness, which is something that I haven't barely even touched yet. But it's you could see how important these sort of things are.
Yeah, they're like the little 1%ers that really change how things are happening. So if you add 1% on top of 1% on top of 1%, day in, day out for 365 days, when you reflect back on that 12 months that has just gone by, all of those little 1% changes have an enormous impact on who you become as a person for the next.
Probably because I listen to a lot of sports things, mate. That's always that sort of thing. Like they say that we can't become any fitter, but if we can fix the mental part of your game. I play a bit of cricket too, which they always say that's in between the years, that game. So it's one of those things that you sort of go, I'll just put it on my shoulders and wear it. But I think as we evolve, we'll start to work more in that space, even through business with our people, because so I think it's important, mate, in the next stage of what we're going to work on.
Yeah, agree. Mate, one final fast track question, and then I'm going to give you a massive thank you for being such a champion and being involved today. If you could go back and give your 18-year-old self one piece of advice, what do you think that would be?
Well, first of all, it wasn't that long ago that I was 18, mate.
I forget that you're still young.
Yes. I think it's just to absorb more, mate. I think, when I was younger, it was all that you work to earn, to live, to go back out, rinse and repeat, get paid on Monday, and go again. And I think if I was able to bring in, it might have been reading, or it might have been a bit more focus on health and fitness. But if I was able to absorb more in and, listen to mentors probably a little bit closer, I don't think it'd have too much impact, because you still have to live through those lessons as well. But definitely absorb more from the people around me.
Mate, I'm with you on that. I certainly I share that philosophy of learning more. It's probably spending a little bit less time entertaining myself and more time learning.
Yes. That's exactly right.
You do definitely have to experience life. I get that, but I think I over-experienced life in my 20s and 30s. So,
but at the same time too, like if you didn't do that and you try to do it now, like if I was trying to go out and live life now with 3 children, and a mortgage and a wife, it doesn't work. So I'm content with what I was able to do when I'm younger, but I've also progressed through life, with a family and a house and all that sort of stuff now. So
yeah, absolutely.
If you don't do that bit, you try and enjoy it too later on in life.
Oh, 100%. And I always I remember reading the Colonel Sanders story with KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and he didn't start that until he was 65-year-old. Like, man, talk about a late bloomer in terms of developing such a powerhouse brand and franchise model around the world. 65 was when it kicked off. He was 65-year-old, and it was just like, wow. So anything's possible, right? It's all about it's all about your mindset. It's all about planning and strategy, but anything's definitely achievable.
And that's where I'm at, mate. We're still learning. We might make a couple of little hiccups along the way, or a couple of mistakes or whatever. But if you're not learning from them, then why bother? We're not going to beat ourselves up every time we make an error. We want to learn from it, become better, and I think that's what we've been able to do here. And we do get better. We don't get caught up on the errors or mistakes or anything that we do. We develop and grow and get better for next time.
Yeah, fantastic. Sean, you've been an absolute champion today, mate. I really appreciate you getting on board and spending some time on the podcast. It's been incredible. I know that you're you're a big advocate of what we're doing, and to have you here has been terrific. And what I'd like to do, obviously, as well, is share some details about your business and stuff via our write-ups. We have obviously bios and write-ups that we put along with the episodes when they launch. So I hope that's okay. And what would be the best way for people to reach out to you? Is it through email or contact you by the store? If that's
grab me on email, just sean@ultimatetiles.com.au,
Yep.
SEAN. Yeah, or if you're fighting around Instagram, you'll definitely see me or one of the brands that we're doing. So
yeah,
no, it's been good. But Mark, thanks for having me. I really enjoy listening to podcasts in general, but especially when they're around the industry. And I think you're doing a great job, and you've got some good guests coming up as well, which I'm looking forward to.
Awesome, mate. Well, thank you again. Have a fantastic rest of the week, and look forward to catching up with you again soon, pal.
Thanks, good. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Tiling Connect podcast. If you'd like to hear more, don't forget to subscribe. If you have any questions or would like to be involved in the show, email us at tilingconnect@gmail.com. See you next episode. Until then, stay connected.